There's something up there.
We're trying to find out if Ian and Katie are what their karmic links were.
Yeah.
I always think every woman I've ever met who was significant in my life, I've always had a sixth sense as I've met them for the first time.
I don't know, but I mean, I think a lot of people know as you've known me.
Years.
Yeah. So it's been a lot of time.
Yeah.
I think we fit well together. We were well together. But as far as I don't know, I've never really.
I wonder sometimes if we were friends in a past life. If your previous life and my previous life, we were both friends.
Soulmates doesn't necessarily have to mean boyfriend, girlfriend.
Neither does it have to be.
And a group of soulmates as well.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Neither does it have to mean that you necessarily like the person.
That's right. Yeah.
They could be negative soulmates in the sense of that make you have a crisis. You know, this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's really quite open how you view soulmates. There are connections, there are webs that somehow happen.
It's not necessarily about relationship. It's not necessarily about finding the perfect mate. Being a soulmate, it could be something else.
You could be needed to challenge some things about one another. You know, so that's what's really available in that. You know, and if anybody did have anything that came up that was disturbing or worrying, we can deal with it. So people don't have to worry.
So are we looking at doing this then? How about it? Live? Would you want to do a few live?
Well, there would be a problem. The Hypnotism Act of 1951 says we're theoretically not supposed to hypnotise live, just in case we hypnotise somebody who shouldn't be listening and they get up to something that they shouldn't do, or that they claim that Salvador Ghost has caused them to have a psychotic episode. So perhaps it would be best to do this separately and then interview people about their experiences. There's a very famous American psychologist called Helen Wambach, who about 30 years ago did regressed about 4,000 people in little groups all over America. She wrote a book about it. And she found there weren't many people who were Indian chiefs or Queen Victoria or Boudica. They had ordinary lives, fishermen, fisherwomen, hunters, whatever. I've always had, there's always been a sort of a spiritual link throughout my life that goes back quite a way, and it's always fascinated me. So, you know, we'd be looking at that.
Yeah.
And if we could have volunteers, we could have an initial chat, just check they're suitable.
Sort of pre-check.
Pre-check.
If you're not comfortable with anything, you can come in, see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, if I was the Nazi guard who killed you in 1940, then I'm not the best person to be there. Perhaps, or something like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you clash with people, and then it's not good.
Are there any side effects? Are there any?
No, usually quite. Most people are just chilled and relaxed.
Yeah. So after it, you won't start seeing visions. You won't be hallucinating.
You might dream a little bit.
Yeah.
You might have that, but in that sense, it would be a developmental thing. Where you'll see things.
Yeah.
It's the process.
There is an old tradition that when the Chinese invaded Tibet in the 1950s, a lot of the Tibetan lamas were killed. And I have heard the argument that a lot of the people who were killed were reborn around in the 70s, late 60s, 70s, and that's part of the message. There's an old Tibetan prophecy that says when the iron eagle flies and wagons run on wheels, the tradition will come to the land of the pink people. And that's when Tibetan Buddhism and Zen Buddhism began to come into the West. And I think that's fascinating at the moment, that you can look at explanations like that.
Okay.
So I think I've probably gone on long enough about
No. Well,
music.
we're good on time.
We're good on time, are we?
We're good on time. Yeah, we're really good. One thing I want to, I think, personally taken away from past life regression now is, I think, quite an open topic at the moment for myself. Is a bit of talk to you about it before, astral projection.
Sure.
I think I'd like to get, I don't know who I want to pick on first. Do I want to pick on Anthony, I don't want to pick on you.
Well, I've talked to it. Why don't Anthony? No,
Yeah.
they'll jump in.
So we're giving the mic back to Anthony Cherry, guys. So I guess I'm picking on you now, astral projection.
Okay.
Your views, your takes, I guess from your point of view.
Sure. Well, I do astral projection, but I call this shamanic journey.
Right.
Okay. So astral projection, shamanic journey in the middle world, where we do the business end of shamanic work, I suppose. And it's basically, middle world is this world, but from a spiritual viewpoint. So when we travel and adjust our frequencies to theta by using the drum, and then we focus with an intention what we're going to do in the middle world, this will probably come into the more westernized term, journeying, which is the same as astral projection. So I will astral project to do a location or go and see, because once I've been to a location, I've got it in my head what it is, and it needs further work, I'll just do it from my home. So what I'm doing, in essence, is astral projecting to that place to check up on it and see if everything is...
So your physical body becomes rested and your soul is someone else.
That's with the shamanic journey, and that's when we go out into the soul viewpoint, of the world, the middle world, and that's astral project to a location. So it's very, a lot of these westernized, psychological stuff is pretty much how it's tried in shamanism. I mean, shamanism, in essence, I feel, is the original psychology.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
Alright, I think I've chilled on Ant for a second then. So I'll pick on you then. Your views, astral projection.
Right. There is no Buddhist tradition of visualizing a body that is you a few yards over there, shall we say, which is turning away from you, and you imagine in that tradition a line from your third eye, whatever you want to call it, touching that. The idea they used to train Buddhist monks was to imagine you were in the other body and you open the eyes and could look out. Now, that's an interesting pattern. In modern neuro-linguistic programming, we talk about actualizing what we want, making real what we want. There are 5 senses we relate to the world. We see, we hear, we taste, we smell, and we touch. If we can imagine ourselves in all those senses doing that thing, then that's pretty similar to what you're suggesting. If a North American Indian was to imagine hunting successfully, they would imagine the bear that they were going to catch. They would see it. They would taste it. They would imagine what it was. Yes. So they would, and they usually they might find it then.
Yeah. And that's it. Where I come back to that.
Yeah. So visualizing yourself in a positive situation is very powerful. In a negative situation, it can be what keeps people stuck in a place where they don't move on. I sometimes wonder if depression, anxiety, has within it a spiritual element, as you say, an energy. Yeah. That we're stuck there. So the idea of shamanic journeying is something that is very long and very honourable, and we can dress it up with modern psychological terms, but it doesn't really matter what we call it, you know?
Can we package it no matter
You
how
can
many times?
repackage it in whatever ways you want to. If you use the model of the internet and the model of virtual reality, you have almost got the shamanic universe in that way, and that's giving us new ways to think and act. So, shamanic journeying is very powerful. Sometimes, I remember a client had a dream once where they were horrified in a dream by a hideous monster. So we worked on this. And the next night they had a dream where they were in my consulting room. There was a picture of the monster on the wall. Just a picture. And the person felt safe. So, did I do that in a shamanic way? I don't know. I don't mind what you call it. If using it in a shamanic way helps, that's great. So, a roseberry any other name
Yes,
smells just as sweet.
that's true.
And that's why we have to be as wide open as we can. Naturally, if somebody was an evangelical Christian, they might get a bit disturbed by this. But there is evidence that St. Augustine believed that we did have pre-existence. There's a very ancient tradition in Judaism that we have pre-existence. And often little children believe that if they wish something strongly enough, it actually happens. So, I don't know what you call it.
Yeah.
If it helps, do it.
It's the power of willpower, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
It's energy, it's positive energy, it's not
Positive energy.
What we call
Yeah.
shamanic, your intention.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The intention makes it. It's the intention that empowers ritual. It's the intention that empowers change.
Yeah, and the subconscious mind is a very powerful thing as well. I mean, when you're sleeping, you can dream that you're somewhere else, and it's kind of you go into like a psychogenic figure where you're sleeping, but your mind is elsewhere. You're in another person's body.
There's an old friend of mine. I've done many of her workshops. Her name is Dolores Ashcroft-Yowiki. She's a third-generation psychic. She lives in Jersey, and she lived in Jersey, and she was evacuated she was evacuated when the Blitz came. And when the bombs were falling, before she got out, she used to visualise a monastery, a place of security. And years later, in a book, she actually came across a picture of that monastery. When I was training, I had a dream that I came to a crossroads. And at that crossroads was a creature that had a snake's body, a human head, a crown on it, and wings. And I was, well, I think we said shit about somebody who's ready to get out, shit scared. And years later, I passed it and it was fine. I passed it, and years later I came across a picture of it in a book. I'd never seen that picture before. It was a spirit naga. And whether you regard it as my personal animal, or whether you regard it as something I saw in the book once, and all my thoughts crystallised around it, I don't know. But that's the value of it, how it works for you.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And I believe you had something you wanted to talk to.
Yeah.
I think it was an answer to.
Where's the aspect again from where you were saying we become like that, become that wolf, or
Yes.
just to get to the quarry? I mean, that's the term we still used today in shamanic practice. So
Yes.
shape-shifting.
Shape-shifting.
I mean, 40,000 years ago,
Yes.
pretty much as a society we were still in caves and we
Yeah.
were hunter-gatherers.
Yes.
And like the first practice in shamans, we probably would become, say, if there was a particular deer in a native, they would
That's
watch and observe how a wolf would hunt that deer.
Yes.
So they would become, right, we would become that wolf, take
That's
on the
right.
aspect
Of
of
the
it.
wolf.
Yeah, even like hunt a wolf and get the clothing, put the wolf's clothing on, and then get that sheep and get that deer.
Precisely.
Yeah, so that's the term.
If you go back to ancient Egypt, you have a different tradition. You have human bodies with animal heads on them.
Mm.
That's because the ancient Egyptians wanted the quality of the animal in the human.
Yeah.
Now that's very shamanic.
Mm.
Like, for example, the jackal, Anpu became the god Anubis in ancient Egypt. Anpu means he who sits upon the mound. The jackal survived the floods. And the gods to Egypt were us using the wisdom of animals. That's why I'm a vegetarian. Factory farming is horrendous. It slaughters millions and millions of animals. How on earth can we properly get back in touch with the natural world and animals if we slaughter animals like that? The North American Indians killed bears. The Inuit killed whales. They always thank the animal for its
Honour the
sacrifice.
spirit.
Yes. We don't honour in the slaughterhouses today. We don't do that. We use animals as a term of abuse. It's not animals who kill. It's not animals who torture. It's humans. Perhaps we've lost touch. And that's why shamanism is so powerful.